Hey, hello, how are you? And welcome to my channel. You might notice there are some random things behind me and also maybe a few less books. That is because we are moving. So there's stuff everywhere, and to be honest, I was not about to just move stuff because I'm just gonna be real with you. It's a process. It's a process, and we need to get rid of as many books as possible because we don't want to have to take books with us that we don't absolutely love. So, welcome to my second unhauling video. So I'm gonna tell you about all the books that I'm getting rid of. So strap in, get a snack, because here we go. This is literally just some of them. This is not all of them by any means, but yeah, let's do this. Okay, so I am definitely getting rid of Before I Do by Sophie Cousins. I believe that I gave this book 3 stars. It wasn't awful, just wasn't for me, wasn't super memorable, and I don't know that I would really recommend it to anybody. I don't feel like I am going to remember this book this time next year, and I don't really care about it. So I got it secondhand and I'm gonna get rid of it now. I am getting rid of This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This book was pretty cute. It was like best friends to lovers type situation. There is some magic, but they're not witches. I originally got this book thinking that it was gonna be a witch romance. I always talk about the witch romances and my never-ending quest to find the best one. So I thought this was gonna be a part of that quest. It was not. It wasn't awful. Again, I think it was a 3-star book for me, but I just don't need to keep it on my shelf. It's not something that I would reread. And it's not something that I love enough to be like, oh my god, you need to read this and like give it out to one of my friends. So for that reason, it is going bye-bye. I will be unhauling One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. This book was pretty good. The twist at the end was very unexpected and way darker than I thought it was gonna be. This book is told from the perspective of a hairdresser. It is about a bunch of the rich women that go to her salon, and you find out in the beginning that one of them is dead, obviously. And you're trying to figure out the whole book, like, who is it? What's going on? Who killed who? What's happening? And it was super interesting, but I wouldn't read it again. And I did think that the ending was a bit triggering, so I would be reluctant to recommend it to friends. So it doesn't need to live on my shelf anymore. I'm getting rid of Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. This book was really cute. I think I gave it 4 stars. But am I gonna read it again? No. So I don't need to keep it, and I would recommend it to friends. But if I'm not gonna read it again, I'm not gonna move it to another house. So for that reason, it will be being donated. I am also getting rid of Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman. This book was a huge disappointment. So sad, because this cover is stunning. Like, it looks so interesting. I don't know, there's something about like the photography and then the font being so simple and pink. Like, I was just so drawn to it when I first saw it. And for that reason, I thought it was going to be an amazing book, but I really felt like it wandered badly. I feel like the plot could have been laid out better. I feel like the ending kind of sucked. I feel like the climax of the book happened too early, and I would not recommend this to anybody. I just don't really think it was a good book. The setting was beautiful, but that's not enough to make me keep it, so it's leaving me as well. I am getting rid of The League of Gentlemen Witches. You may realize that this has been on my TBR for quite a while. It was going to be one of my witch romance picks, but I started it this month. I got like maybe 3 chapters in and I was like, oh, I hate this immediately. I don't care. I think that it's kind of stupid, and also I believe it takes place in like the 1800s-ish or like early 1900s, which I wasn't expecting. Now, I'm not saying that all books that take place in that time period are bad or that I don't like them, because there are definitely older books or books that take place in time periods like that that I do like. However, when you're not expecting that, it can really throw you off guard and make things feel boring all of a sudden, and that's how I was feeling. Also, there are magical pirates that fly around in flying houses, and I just could not take that shit seriously. Like, that felt like such a joke to me, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I DNF'd it, and now I'm getting rid of it because I know I'm not gonna finish it. So what's the point in keeping it? Next, I'm getting rid of Thank You for Listening by Julia Whalen. This book was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars, finished it last month, but I'm not gonna read it again, so it doesn't need to come with me. It's like a little bit chunkier, so it's like taking up space, and I need that space for other books that I like more. So I'm gonna get rid of it too. But I would suggest it. I think that it leans a little bit more literary fiction and a little bit more melancholy for a romance. I'm not sure if it's like actually supposed to be marketed as a romance. I think it is. But I would say just know that going into it. But I would suggest it. It is pretty good. But I don't need it. I don't need to keep it forever. Then I'm getting rid of Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. This is the second book in the Giver quartet, and it sucks. It's horrible. The whole rest of the series is horrible. Don't read them, please. They're awful, and I hated it. I'm going to keep the first book because I love The Giver. That one's great. The other 3 sucked so bad. Thank God I only had this one and I didn't own the 3rd and 4th one, because I'd be getting rid of those too. So this is going to go live somewhere else. Then I will be getting rid of Twisted Love and what is this? Twisted Games, the second one in the Twisted series. I believe I got like halfway through Twisted Love and I absolutely hated it. I DNF'd it. I felt like the guy was so yucky and misogynistic. I just couldn't stand him, and I felt like it was just kind of stupid, and everyone told me that if I couldn't even get through the first one, I would hate all of them. So I made the executive decision to just be done with it, and so I'm gonna get rid of them. Then I will be getting rid of the Harry Potter series. I'm not gonna hold up all of them because there are too many, so I'm just gonna hold up the first one. Yay! I'm getting rid of these. We're getting rid of them, I guess, because my wife and I both read them, but we're getting rid of them because we're not gonna read them again. So what's the point in having them? It's not like they're our favorite book series ever, but first and foremost, we hate J.K. Rowling, and so we don't really want her books on our shelf. It kind of makes us sad. My wife is trans, and so it's like, it's personal to us, and we just want that bad energy out of our house. We still love the movies, and we feel like those are totally different because other people made them, and we do own those on DVD, so we don't have to stream them. We don't have to give her any more money when we want to watch those. But the book's just kind of like, it's a bit of a downer. So we're gonna get rid of these, and somebody else can find the full set, I guess, at whatever bookstore we donate them to. Then I'm gonna be getting rid of Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This is actually a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. It was a gift, and that's why I kept it for a while. But if I'm being honest, I don't like this book. I don't. It was not fun to me, and as I've spoken of before, I like to have fun when I read, and this was not fun. It was a bit of a downer, and I wouldn't read it again, and I wouldn't recommend it to people either because I don't think it's as good as people thought it was. Like, I don't really get why it won awards and stuff, but to each his own. It's just not for me, so somebody else can have it. I am Unhauling Bride and Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. If you watched my Allie Hazelwood ranking video, you would know that these were at the bottom of the list. I did not like either of these, and I would not read either of them again. I would definitely not recommend Bride to anyone. I would maybe recommend Check and Mate to somebody that's a little bit younger. This is Allie Hazelwood's only YA book so far, and I think that there are people that could enjoy this for sure. I think that if I was younger when I read this, I would maybe be like a little bit more smitten by it, but alas, I am an adult, so it was just not my cup of tea. This one was just bad in my opinion. I know not everyone feels that way. Again, these are just my opinions. If this is your jam, it's your jam. You go off, girl, but it's not for me. So unfortunately, I'm gonna break my streak of owning every Allie Hazelwood book that she comes out with, but I just don't want to keep these on my shelf because I don't like them. So I'm gonna get rid of both of them. Then I'm gonna be getting rid of a bunch of Agatha Christie books. So I am going to be getting rid of The Murder on the Links, Midwinter Murder, The Body in the Library, The Moving Finger, By the Pricking of My Thumbs, Cards on the Table, and The Seven Dials Mystery. So I have read the first 4 of these. These 3 I've not read. But let me tell you something. I have read maybe like 16 or 17 Agatha Christie books, and I am confident that I have already read her best work. So when you start by reading an author's best work and then accidentally working backwards, none of it feels as good. Also, it's really old. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes that means that it's a little bit boring, or there are problematic storylines that I don't appreciate. So I just feel like I needed to be honest with myself, and I don't think I'm gonna read any more Agatha Christie books, like straight up. I do still kind of want to make a video where I talk about the best ones that I've read and rank them. I think that could be interesting for the people that love mysteries or Agatha Christie, or they want to get into that type of stuff. But for me, I feel like I'm done. So I am going to be getting rid of 3 that I haven't read yet, just because I know I'm not going to read them. I have been thinking about it, and I've been dreading having to read them because they've been on my physical TBR, and my goal has been to finish my physical TBR this year. So if I'm dreading them that badly, like, I should just get rid of them because I'm not gonna read them. And if I do force myself to read them, it's gonna put me in a slump, and I don't want that. You don't want that. So here we go. Agatha Christie, she's had her time in my life, and now these are gonna go live somewhere else. Okay, another book that I haven't read but I am going to be getting rid of, They Both Die in the End by Adam Silvera. I just know I'm probably not gonna like this. The only criticism or comment or praise or whatever that I've heard of this book is that it's sad. And I don't really like sad books. So I've been dreading this one too. And if I'm dreading it, I should just take it off my physical TBR. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't know, maybe one day I'll listen to the audiobook, but like, even if I do that, I can't see myself liking it enough to want to own it and like keep it forever. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. That's the solution in my head. Then I will be getting rid of Good Morning, Good Night, Little Pep Talks for Me and You by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is a book that I read far before I had a YouTube channel. It's not really like a book. It's kind of like poetry and then like drawings and stuff. And it was cute. I read it because I was in that phase, you know, the phase that everybody goes through where you're obsessed with Hamilton and everything Lin-Manuel Miranda does. And so this was really interesting to me. I believe that this is based off of tweets he used to put out where he would be like, it's like I'm your dad and I'm saying good morning to you and here's a little message and then here's my good night one that like kind of matches it. And like, that's cute, but I'm not gonna read this again and I don't need to keep it. So it's gonna go bye-bye as well. And lastly, I'm going to be getting rid of Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I really liked this book. I believe I actually gave it 5 stars, but I still feel like the story is pretty fresh in my mind. I did also see the movie. I would recommend that. It is pretty close to the book, but I just don't need to own it. I'm not gonna read it again. I originally did feel like I was gonna read it again. I also got this book secondhand, so I'm just like, let's pass it on to the next person. Somebody else can read it, you know, because I don't think that I need to keep this forever. So I am going to be getting rid of it because it's also kind of chunky and it takes up a lot of space. So it's going to go find a new home. Whew. Okay, so those are all the books that I'm going to be getting rid of. Or I should say those are all the fiction books that I'm going to be getting rid of. I do have more nonfiction books that I'm getting rid of, but that's not as interesting. A lot of them are just like old religious books that I used to read, so yeah, there are literally stacks of books all over the place in our house, and we're doing our best to find new homes for them before we pack all of the books that we're keeping and then pack up all of our other stuff. So I hope you enjoyed watching this unhaul video. I always think it's really interesting to watch other people's unhauling videos because I want to know, like, why don't you want to keep that, even if you don't think it's a bad book. I just think it's interesting. So I hope that you found this video interesting as well. Let me know down in the comments, are there any books that you have been holding on to that you've been looking to unhaul? I want to know. I want to see if there are any of the same books that I'm getting rid of. If you like this video, you can give it a like. You can subscribe to me and my channel and hit that little bell icon if you want to be notified every single time that I post. All of my social media links are in the description below if you want to go follow me on any of my accounts across the interwebs. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!